Hey everyone, welcome back to the farm. Today I'm going to be showing you a few little chainsaws. Now this is the cheapest chainsaw that you can buy at Lowe's Home Improvement Store. I bought it just a couple weeks ago. They had a sale going on, and I think it said it run through February 2nd maybe. But this saw was 50% off. However, even still, it's still the cheapest gas-powered chainsaw there is at Lowe's, even before the sale. But I bought this saw for 60 bucks. So, it's the Poulan PL3314. And it's got a little 14-inch bar on it. I think it's like a 33cc saw. And, you know, normally I'm on a good professional grade saw. But you don't always need a good professional grade saw. This saw is taking the place. Well, actually, when I saw it on sale, I couldn't help but buy it because I thought it was so cheap, because I have the older version of it here that somebody gave to me at least 7 or 8 years ago. And I have beat this saw to death. It's a Poulan Wood Shark model 1950. Now, I'm not exactly sure how old this saw is. I do know it's a pre-chain brake saw. So you can see there, it doesn't have a chain brake on it. So I'm sure it's at least probably 15, 20 years old. I'm not 100% sure on that part though. But I've had it for several years. I've left that saw out in the bed of my truck to get rained on. It's been in the bed of my truck for 6 months at a time. And so when I seen they had this saw on sale, the new version of it, kind of couldn't help myself but to buy it. I just wanted to see. I was like, hey, that's not the first 60 bucks I've ever blown. I wanted to see if it was anywhere as good as the old one. And actually, so far it seems to be pretty good. It's got a little more power to it than the old one does, which the old one's probably wore out, I guess. But the old one actually cranks easier and better than the new one does. The new one tends to be a little cold-natured. And again, this new one is the Poulan PL3314. And like I said, it tends to be a little cold-natured, but once it gets warmed up, it runs just as good as the old one does. And so, like I said, I'm not normally a fan of these here cheap chainsaws. I do know that Poulan is owned by Husqvarna, and so they're technically, like, I guess, a cheap homeowner grade Husqvarna. However, I've used that little saw, that old one, I've used it a bunch. And it's held up really good. The only thing I've ever done was put a chain on it and put some gas lines on it. So, I just wanted to see if this new one would hold up just as good. So today, I'm kind of going to do a little review with it. As far as reliability goes, I've had it now for about 2 weeks. And so far, so good. I know that's not long at all to say on a saw. But if it's anything like its older brother there, then I'd say it'd be a good saw for the homeowner or someone who just needs a saw like I do to run around in the back of the gator or on a four-wheeler or something and just beat around in the woods with. Throw it on the tractor with you and check fences and everything else. And, you know, it's not exactly what you call a light saw, but it's a whole lot better than toting around this big thing here. Now that can get heavy when you're trying to tote it around a fence and you're walking a couple miles of fence line through the woods. You know, that's not what you want to do. You don't want to be toting that big saw. And that's one thing I do like about this saw is you can run up on a tree, maybe 12, 14 inches in diameter, and it's going to take you a while to cut through it. I mean, it's not like cutting with the big saw, but it'll cut it and it'll do the job. So I was over here messing around this season, and I've got a dead cherry laying on the ground. I found a dead tree that was still standing, and I went ahead and cut it down, and I'm going to kind of show you a little power on this thing, show you how it does. Alright, so we're back over here at our tree, and like I said, this is I believe was a wild cherry that was standing over here, but it was dead. I don't like to cut a tree down unless I have to, if it's a green living tree. But this one was dead, so it's actually going to probably make some pretty good firewood. But I'll show you here. You see just the outside layer is rotten. This inside layer right here all of this is hard as a rock. That's some hard wood. But we're gonna show you what this little Poulan will do. Now that's probably from there to there, I'd say maybe 8-9 inches. So that'll kind of give you some idea here. Now, like I said, I'm not bragging on this thing by no means. I'm not saying it's this monstrous powerhouse, because it's not. It's only a 33cc saw, and it carries the little style chain. But this is all any homeowner or any landowner who has a small acreage, or just doesn't do a lot of tree cutting, this is the only saw they would need. Now, this is the first time it's been started today, so it is going to be a cold start on it. Let me get my shield on here. Now you can probably tell what I was talking about with it being a little cold natured. I don't know if you heard on that first cut, it was busting out just a little bit, and that's kind of what this saw does. It takes it a while to get to that maximum running temperature, I guess you would say. So I don't know if it needs just a little bit of a carb adjustment on it or what it does, but this old one don't do that. Now, just for the video's sake, I'm gonna take and show you a little bit on this old one. Now, it has been run, so this isn't a cold start on it, but we'll show you what it'll do. Now, the chain is not quite sharp on this one. I just had sharpened that chain, but this one could use sharpening, so it's probably not going to be quite as good as the other one. Well, I told you I was going to start it. It may have died on me. As you can see just from that cut right there, this saw has nowhere near the power that this saw does. But I think what happened when I went to cut it, crank it there, I think I choked it and shouldn't have. I don't know. I believe it flooded just a little bit, but normally this thing cranks pretty good. I guess it knew I was taking a video of it. But, you know, like I said, that saw's been pretty reliable. It's been beat around the bed of my truck, rolled around, run over. I mean, you couldn't believe what that saw's been through. You know, either one of these saws, of course, you can't buy this one right here brand new anymore. That one has been discontinued and replaced with this saw. Now, like I said, this saw is a homeowner saw. This is not a professional saw. You see that chain? How it's got these drag links. It's got a link right there and a drag link right there before it even gets to the tooth that does the cutting. Now, that's a homeowner style chain. That chain is not meant to take out big chunks of wood as you're sawing with it like a professional chainsaw does. Professional chainsaw will take large chunks out, whereas this one is a homeowner saw. It's just going to take more finer chunks. It's going to look more like dust instead of chips. But you can see right here behind me, these are your wood chips. Now, from a big professional saw like my Husqvarna or something, you would have a lot bigger chips come out of that chain. But that's what my point is. This is a homeowner saw. So in turn, a saw like this is a whole lot safer for a homeowner who doesn't have experience with a chainsaw than, say, my big professional saw. And it don't matter what brand saw you go with. The homeowner version is going to have this style chain on it. And whether it be Steel, Echo, Husqvarna, it doesn't matter. Now, I will say one thing about this saw is on the homeowner grade Husqvarnas, they only have one nut right here that holds this bar tight. And this saw's got two, which most professional grade saws have two. And this one has two as well. And like, I don't know why Husqvarna, even though this is owned and manufactured by Husqvarna, I don't know why their homeowner saws have one bolt and these Poulans have two. But you know, what time will tell how this thing will hold up for me. Build quality on it seems pretty good. You know, it's obviously got a lot of plastic in it, and it's got the kind of like a spring assist in the starter here, so it makes it a little easier to pull. But for 60 bucks, you cannot beat this saw. I don't care if it don't run, but maybe if you don't get a year out of it. I mean, 60 bucks, that's nothing for a chainsaw, even a homeowner chainsaw. I think the next closest, which, you know, the normal retail price of this saw was $119, I believe, before it was on sale. So even for $119, it's not a bad saw. If you had to pay full retail price for it, and I say if you're not going to be using the saw more than 2 or 3 times a year, heck, even if you use it more than that, I don't think it's a bad deal. If you just want something to throw in the truck to beat around, and I mean, you don't want to go spend $300, $400, $500, $600 on a saw and throw it in the bed of your truck and beat it around, or throw it in the back of your four-wheeler or your gator or something and beat it around, because you're going to tear that saw up. And you don't want to be tearing up a high-dollar saw. I mean, me personally, I'd rather tear up a cheap saw. But, you know, I don't feel like I threw my money away at all on this. I've done used it going around a fence once and toted it with me, cut a couple trees in. I cut some stuff just day before yesterday that was wider than the bar is, because I was having to make a pass on one side and a pass on the other side to get all the way through the log. And it was slow about it, but it did it. It done it well. So my point being is, if you're looking at buying your very first chainsaw, I wouldn't hesitate on this saw one bit. I would buy it in a heartbeat, especially if you can get it for the sale price of $60. Even if you can't, if you had to pay full retail of $120, you know, do it. I don't see why how you could go wrong. I think the next closest thing in as far as price range goes is the Steel 170, and I'm thinking they sell for right around $180, maybe somewhere right there in the $200 range. And you know, you could almost buy 2 of these saws for what you could buy for that one, and still have a homeowner grade saw. So I would go this route if it was me, and I did go this route, obviously. But you know, it's something to think about, something to consider if you're looking at your first chainsaw, or just looking for one to beat around with. You know, just to keep on just honestly not care about and just run to death. You know, this is, I think, a good saw for that category, and I wouldn't be telling you to do that with a $700 Steel. You know, you need to take care of that thing. And I'm not saying you shouldn't take care of this. You need to keep it lubed, and you know, if you really want it to last, keep some high quality gas in it. I mean, I recommend some 93 octane with a good oil, and if you can get non-ethanol gas wherever you are, make sure you run that in it. But you know, it's just, to me, seems like the good thing to do if you're looking for a cheap saw and your first saw. You know, this one is, in my opinion, one of the better options out there. But anyways, thanks for watching this video. I'm gonna get back to cutting some wood up here, and I hope you guys have a good day.